In this charming conversation that happened between a participant in a counselling program I was running and myself, the client had had a very troublesome and long-lasting fear of heights. He'd had this for all of his adult life, as long as he could remember actually. And rather than trying to find some protocol to help with a condition called fear of heights, we had this lovely conversation in which his natural resources, by looking at what he liked to do, became very clear and available to be brought into the problem area. He had a father of 4 children, 4 boys, and his family is so important to him. He was actually very concerned for them and about them, that they might catch his problem. He was even concerned for them to that degree. And his caring and his concern for his children turned out to be a very useful resource in helping to resolve this long-standing and very troublesome problem. To resolve it rapidly, very respectfully, because there wasn't anything asked of him that he wasn't already doing, and that allowed for the change to happen in such a solid and persistent way. I guess it's obvious from that that I'm not recommending that this is a way to treat fear of heights, because this is actually just one example of how the problem was impacting on one person and how looking at his individual resources and harnessing them and bringing them and connecting him with those resources, this particular person was able to resolve his particular problem. And I'm very grateful to him for his generosity in letting us witness the conversation, which is such a private experience. And by letting us be part of that and witness to that, have the opportunity to view the conversation and see what we can learn from that experience and take into our practice to add to the effectiveness of what we're doing in helping people to be more connected with their resources. So I'm very grateful to this man for his generosity in letting us be part of this. Thanks, Frank, for being willing to play here and see what we can get to. And what have you been up to? What have you been doing this week?
Primarily work and being at home and taking children everywhere. Pretty much business as usual type of week. Lots of meetings.
Oh, yeah. Good. And you manage to cope with meetings? You're not phobic about those?
No problem, because I'm usually leading them, so that's okay.
Okay, you don't mind taking
don't mind taking them,
the high position there too.
No, I don't mind that at all. The high position, very good. It's totally unfamiliar territory for me, because this is like, I can't fake this one. You know, this is something that's
nothing to face.
It's real for me.
Yeah. There's just nothing. We're not pushing you over the edge of anything. Yeah.
Good.
So you said that there's something about heights that troubles you. Would it be okay if something were to happen about that?
Yeah.
Not that there's any. I don't know.
No, I've been struggling with this for most of my life.
Oh, no wonder it's still there.
And it's this thing which I really, I've conquered a lot of things, a lot of fears,
You've conquered them.
and I've been okay with them, with being in public, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. But this damn thing about heights.
Yeah. What is the thing about heights?
It's a body thing. It's a body thing, as in intellectually. I know I'm on the top of a building. I know that there's glass. I know that you would need an elephant to smash through that glass. But to stand there
read a story the other day
You know?
about someone who actually inadvertently killed himself because he was from a safety glass manufacturing company.
Oh.
And he installed this glass on the 100th floor, and to prove to everybody how strong it was, he threw himself against it. So just to cheer you up, you know.
Thanks, he used the wrong glass.
Better,
Yeah, much better.
I don't know about the glass, but it didn't take an element.
It's an issue of trust.
Yeah.
There's some issue of trust in two ways. One is whatever the apparatus is, be it a cliff face, be it glass, be it the building itself. The other issue of trust is that there's this, it's like, can I trust myself to stand here? Because there's this seeming, there's this propensity of, well, hang on, what if I had a mental blank for a second and I did that?
What,
So all these,
fell?
well, not jumped, more like I took a step too far.
Oh, yeah.
You know, not like I initiated jump in that sense. And I've done lots of things to try and overcome it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't worked. And yet, up in a plane, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I love the thrill,
So
all that.
what would be something that would be relevant? I mean, you may not be interested to learn to tightrope across the Niagara Falls or something, you know. Most people
No.
would be
No.
wanting to be able to do that. Is there something that would be useful? Is this limiting you in some way?
Yeah.
Is there
It
some
does.
small limitation, some small place, somewhere where you might be able to benefit from being just a bit more comfortable with that?
It limits me in my protectiveness of my kids.
Oh, yeah.
So if we're out somewhere and there's a cliff face or whatever, and it's quite safe and there is some railings and all that, I will stop them from going to the edge.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm concerned, one, that I'm putting this fear into them, number one. And number two, that if they went that little bit too far, I mean, I'm become impotent in
Oh, you might be able to help them.
I may not be able to. Now, I don't think that would get to that, but there's that doubt.
Fear. So is it more, would you rather do something more about your kids getting close to the edge or you getting
No.
close there? You.
Yeah. Because if I can handle that, if I'm okay with that,
All right.
then I'm okay with everything else.
All right. So when you think about getting close to the edge of, I don't know, cliff somewhere, has there been somewhere recent or somewhere that you can remember where you were reluctant to go?
Yeah, I went up in a lift in St Kilda Road. It's one of those lifts which has glass,
Oh, yeah.
and so you can see yourself, right? You know, going up. I mean, you can look,
Yeah.
and you know, like I walked into the lift. There was a few people in the lift, and the only option for me was to stand next to the bloody glass, right? And you know, I could feel the whole body thing. I was like,
What was
there
the
was.
body thing you felt? What was that?
It's kind of like a emotion begins, sort of a weakness.
Like an oscillation.
An oscillation starts, and then there's this acceleration, if that makes sense. There's this sort of acceleration of the body, feeling like there's some kind of acceleration going on, but not the pleasant acceleration I enjoy. And yeah, there's a general feeling of out of controlness. I think that's the best way to describe it. I think.
Okay.
You know, I don't really have a handle on this stuff.
Fair enough. But if you're familiar enough with the sensations that you don't want, they're quite familiar to you.
Yeah.
And could you say something about the sensations that you'd rather feel?
The sensations I would rather feel would be well, I guess it's the opportunity and the pleasure of having a bird's eye view, because I love that. I love heights.
What is that?
See, I love heights. I mean, I love my bedroom upstairs.
Yeah.
I love being at the top of things. I love standing on a cliff and looking out. I love crow's nests.
Yeah.
I kind of feel ripped off that
So the sensations you'd like to have are one of what? Appreciation, of gratitude.
yeah. I'd like to abseil off the top of a building and look down and go, oh yeah, That's a great view. I mean, what a fantastic view.
What's the body sensations of that?
Excitement.
Oh, okay.
Excitement and some form of ability, some form of, it's like a death-defying
So
thing.
this is something that's been a part of your experience for a while?
All my life, I can remember it. All my life.
I'm reminded of what you were saying before about that woman in the meeting. And about the vicious person being like a boy with having a temper tantrum. And somehow when she said, oh, he's having a temper tantrum, that gave her some peace, some room. And I'm wondering if you were to think of your body sensations, that kind of oscillation and the acceleration, as being not a temper tantrum, but like a fear tantrum of a little boy. How old would that little boy be?
He'd be about 2.
About 2. So here's a 2-year-old boy trying to tell you what you can and can't do. Now, if you have a 2-year-old boy that's frightened and you try and subdue him, or you try and control him, or you try and win over him, you know,
he gets angry.
He gets angry. So there's a 2-year-old boy getting into that lift, and you're getting into the lift, and he's getting into the lift. What feeling would you like to have? What mood would you like to have, so that he can get some of your mood?
The feeling of what an opportunity. We get to see stuff that we don't ordinarily see.
And you're starting to feel that now?
Yeah, I actually likened it back to number one son, who absolutely loves getting on things that do ridiculous things at ridiculous heights, who has no issue about it at all. He's actually, in a way, jealous of him. And yet I really wanted that, you know, and I think, gee, you've got your mother's head, haven't you? You know, it's like, wow.
So I just had an image then of you getting onto this lift in St Kilda Road. But instead of you getting in just by yourself, you're standing next to the glass, you've got a little 2-year-old.
Okay.
You know, whether you go in here or you've got in here. Here perhaps.
Yeah.
Now you get into that lift and his mood's pretty...
Oh, he's very...
He's oscillating.
He's very flighty, yeah.
He's flighty. Okay, so how are you going to hold him? What are you going to do so that he can...
I guess hold him in a secure way.
How do you do that? What's the body that you have, the body sensations that you have that let you hold him? What's the feeling in yourself about feeling secure?
I'm strong enough to hold him.
Okay.
Physically strong enough.
And you did something with your shoulders? What's that?
I'm strong, you know.
And you just that a little taller in the chair when you... Almost like you've kind of grown up.
I can do this.
Okay. So you have the body sensations and the emotion, I can do this. Now that little kid, he doesn't know if he can do it or not.
No.
He hasn't done it before, or maybe every time he's done it he's freaked out. So how can you hold him? What are the sensations that you can have that he can pick up? I can do this.
Well, there's a certain kind of boldness, and it kind of lives here somewhere. And I've experienced that boldness in other circumstances where I'm terrified, but in light of who I was protecting or what I was doing, there was the boldness there, and the boldness coexisted with that fear. It was actually there at the same time.
Yeah, and there wasn't a conflict between them.
No.
And in fact, in some ways, without the fear, there would be no boldness, because if without fear you don't need boldness.
No. No.
Who's going to be bold if there's no chance for fear?
Well, exactly. You'd look stupid, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So the fear actually produces, enhances, creates the boldness.
In a way, I can't wait to get back to a lift or something. I mean, it's a thing I'd love to do. I would love to be able to not feel scared in a Ferris wheel.
Well, let's start with something familiar like the lifting. And also, I'm wondering whether an actual physical object might be useful for you to take.
Oh,
Would
okay.
you notice in the little room there's some dolls. I mean,
Okay.
there's a doll.
I'm not about to start playing with dolls. No, but okay.
Good. You can take it. You could. I mean, it doesn't have to be. It might be a satchel, or it might be the folder, but just something that you can hold. Do you know?
Okay.
And to feel that coexistence of, I can do this, but there's a certain kind of boldness, and if there's some fear, that helps to fuel the boldness. And it somehow, just imagine you do that.
Okay.
And you get to the top of this thing, and you get out. How do you feel?
Oh, I feel I've succeeded.
Yeah. And how's that little kid?
Well, he's fine because he's with me.
Yeah. But he might say, "I'm going to get you," like that bloke.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, like he hasn't.
Yeah.
He mightn't give up. He mightn't trust you after one thing. He might
The conversation's actually, well, what the hell do you need to do that for anyway? It's like, well, you don't have to do that in life.
Well, the human body comes pre-wired, and the central nervous system is not created. We don't have a built-in history of going up in elevators.
No.
Or flying, for that matter. No. It's not. Monkeys we don't do that kind of stuff.
And yet I insist on a window seat. I mean, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm bitterly disappointed if I don't get a window seat.
What's the feeling when you sit in the plane and you've got a window seat and you look out?
I love it.
Look down.
I love it. I stare out the window. I don't watch movies. I look out the window. I'm fascinated.
How far down are it? It's like kilometres down.
Oh, it's huge. And I actually mentally work out mathematically how far off the ground we are, the angle of the plane,
What's
why.
The feeling? What's the emotion that you have?
It's wonderful. It's actually very very powerful. It's like, I love this, and I feel very secure.
But there's no boldness in that. There's no fear.
There's no fear.
But it's a good feeling. You like it. There's a kind of a connected feeling in some way. You feel connected with the ground, with the experience, with the height.
Yep. And all my life, I've climbed up onto roofs of the house and things like that, and loved the feeling.
Yeah.
So.
So you know that feeling.
Oh yeah.
In a plane. On a roof of a house.
Yep.
I remember my mother panicking when I climbed up on the garage roof, and I was probably more than two, but I was fine up there. I was having a good time.
I used to sleep on the roof on top of my bungalow in summer.
Okay.
I used to love it.
So there's something about heights that you really...
It's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
It's some sort of weird, sort of intermingled thing.
Well, it's just a bit of variety.
Oh, okay.
But
that's a good
it
way
doesn't
to
have
see
to
it.
be a conflict.
No,
You've
it
just
doesn't.
got
No,
an
it doesn't.
alternative. But it seems like now you have an alternative of either really loving it and being connected with it, or if there's any fear, to notice there is a sense of boldness that comes with that will kind of carry you and that 2-year-old through that in a way that's satisfying.
Okay.
And it'll be interesting to notice, to be curious, are you going to love it, or are you going to have that boldness?
Well, I think I'd like to choose the boldness.
Okay. It might be nice to have a bit of variety. You might go up and down the left half dozen times and say, this time I'm going to do loving, this time I'm going to do boldness, and kind of alternate them and
play with them.
Yeah, give yourself a bit of practice of either.
All right, I can do that.
And maybe if you did that half a dozen times, maybe one of them you might like to try terror, see what that's like. Just to know that you can be frightened, and to have that as an option. Because you don't have to get rid of that. The more choices we
Well, I have been trying to get rid of it.
Yeah.
That certainly hasn't worked.
One of the options. Then you get into a thing like that and you say, okay, I can have terror, I can have boldness, or I can have loving. You've got 3 options then.
Okay.
The more options you have, there'll be a lot more.
So, and I can also allow my body to go into this, because there's the propensity to sort of, no, I can't let my body go into this sort of dizziness stuff.
Sure.
Like looking over the edge of the building. Everybody else is standing there. For last year's Grand Prix, we were allowed to go up to the top of the building and looking over Queen's Road, and everybody else is standing right at the edge. Not me. I'm like this. And pretending that I wasn't.
So I don't know whether it would be pleasing for you to, like even now, to imagine that you are at the edge and you're looking over and you're calculating the distance.
Yeah, like I do in a plane.
Yeah, so can you put yourself on the edge now and look down?
Yeah.
How far, when you're looking down, how far is it down there? What do you reckon?
It's a bloody long way.
Yeah, but
and okay, well, I would say, well, in this particular building, it's about 14 stories, which has to be 14 times, say, 30 feet. Okay. So you're talking about what, 540 feet or something like that.
540 feet. So
you know, some
200 metres or something. Or 150.
Yeah, it's a long way.
So 200 feet, it's 250 metres, 200 feet or something. So, but you look at that distance. And what do you think? You look at it. It's not as high as a plane.
Well, I look at it and I notice what's fascinating for me is the sheer drop of the building, and the perspective looks like the building's bent, as in it. You know, it does this business. It's like the ground kind of goes under there.
Isn't that interesting? When
well,
you
it is interesting.
You see it, you know it's not bent, but it looks like it is.
Yeah, the perspective is, or
fascinating.
The whole thing's fascinating, and I want more of it.
Yeah.
But this thing.
What a shame this building doesn't get any higher. You might be able to find another building to look over and see whether all tall buildings curve. Wonder whether they all do.
Well, it's fascinating for me because I love the ability that we have to have everything be geometrically square.
Yeah.
You know, I like that.
It's geometrically square, but this one's curved.
Yeah, it kind of dives in.
It goes in like that.
Yeah, it doesn't go out like that, which would give me a safety.
No,
it kind of disappears under there.
Yeah, like where does it go to?
It's shithouse
well,
when it does that.
Know,
it's like
fascinating though.
Yeah.
Where does it go? It's straight, but it's curved.
I can see what I'm going to be doing.
Now, it may be that if you look from the first floor, that you can't see it.
No, it looks very straight.
From the second floor, you probably won't be able to see it.
No.
From the 100th floor, you will be able to see it. But just where between the 100th and the second, you will or won't be able to see it is something you don't know yet.
I do know that anything over about probably 6 or 7 floors.
Probably.
Yeah.
But you're not sure.
No.
Is it 6 or 7?
I need to look at it.
So it may be something that as you're going up in that lift, you know, you might be able to look and see, okay, I'm on the ground, it's straight. Oh, now it's starting to curve.
Yeah, now it's starting to sort of disappear underneath.
What level does it start to disappear?
Okay.
It's fascinating to watch that.
Okay.
To see just when.
I can do that.
Is it consistent? Is it always somewhere between the 6th and the 7th floor? Or if the sun is bright, is it earlier? Or if it's raining, is it, you know, or if it's crowded, or if it's...
Well, see, I've never looked at it that way. I've always looked at it from the issue of trust. Trust of the apparatus. Trust of the hardware.
I know. But that's trust. I mean, that's one way.
Been barking at the wrong tree.
But if you get, well, it's not necessarily the wrong tree, just a different one. You've been barking up that and nothing's happened, so let's bark up another tree and see whether something's happened here. Don't know whether this will happen either.
No.
But it's a different tree.
I can play with that.
You can play with it. Now, what's different now than when we started?
I think a series of angles from where to look.
Yeah.
And I think, I guess there's a movement towards an acceptance of the fear, which I'm very good at doing in other areas and never really applied it this way.
That's called a problem.
So, yeah, it's like, oh, okay, I've applied this here.
Something that we're not doing here that we are doing there. But if we did it here, we would have it. It's a problem. Okay, so you're seeing that you've got this fear thing handled everywhere or many other places. And you haven't thought of doing that.
No.
So there's another connection for you.
Okay.
And what's the emotion that you feel? You've seen that connection?
Well, there's actually some keen interest to look and see if there's kind of work, you know, like, is this going to work?
Your eyes are open, it's like, oh, this is interesting.
Like, then I'm thinking of all the things that would open up. If I take the boys down to Luna Park, I'd be happy to go on the Big Dipper.
Well, you would be if it was there.
You know, well, yeah, if it was there. There's, you know, yeah, like
what a shame you can't go on the Big Dipper.
Oh, there's plenty more. Plenty of other things.
Go to that place up in the Gold Coast, the Corkscrew.
Been there. I did that I was taken up by my company, and when we went into there was a ride called Lethal Weapon, which does this, and you're strapped in and your legs are dangling. And I grabbed my boss, Steve, and I said, Steve, I need to see the other end of this damn thing. And he knew exactly what I meant. And he literally, when we got into the park, he grabbed me, and I allowed myself, but he grabbed me and led me, sat me in a seat, strapped me in, and sat beside me and did the same. And we went on this 30-second ride, which must have seemed like about 5 hours to me. And I tried everything on the upward incline. I thought, oh, bugger this, there goes my body again, like there's this acceleration happening. I'll close my eyes. And I thought, no, I'm not going to close my eyes, you know? I'm just not going to do that. And then I opened my eyes, and it reminded me a bit of the motorcycle. And I thought, hang on a minute, I can actually be with this damn thing, you know? So I got off, and whilst he said, look, let's have another go, and I was reluctant, I didn't, there was also the excitement of wanting to have another go.
Yeah.
I think I can look at it differently.
I had a go on the corkscrew with my daughter when she was maybe, I don't know, 11. We got off, and she said, I'm never going on that with you again. I said, why not? She said, all you said the whole time was, oh shit, oh shit. But anyhow, a couple of days later, just before we left, we were both looking at it. We did go on it again.
Yeah.
And as it was climbing up, it got right to the top, and it was like a moment of, like a revelation.
Yeah.
I realised, I've got a choice here. I can either be scared or I can go on the ride. I didn't have time to decide, but as soon as I could see there was a possibility of being on the ride, it was fantastic.
There's a being on the fear. Yeah. I never thought of it that way either. Okay.
So, anyhow, that might be a place to leave it.
Yeah. I'm thinking of a lot of places I can go now to kind of test this out.
Now, listen. Slow down, okay?
Yeah.
We don't want you developing into some kind of...
No. No chance of that.
Frank's on the 7 o'clock news again. Frank Braden,
Jumping
the
off.
whole city. Hasn't Melbourne got any taller buildings than this that I can stand on one hand with my feet in the air with my eyes closed?
No chance of that. No chance of that.
There's more chance of you flopping to the other extreme than of you taking the middle ground.
Okay.
It's easy for you to say, I'm going to really go for this.
Okay.
Become a tightrope walker.
I guess I always felt ripped off that there were certain things that precluded me, well, that stuff precluded me at the time from participating in certain things. So people would say, let's do this. I'd say, no, blah, blah, blah.
I just need to be sure of one other thing. Have you got any other limitations? Because I don't want you becoming so transformed that you become translucent and start to kind of float through life as a totally evolved,
No.
limitations and no blockages to the full expression of who you are. Yeah?
No, I can identify lots of
just want
limitations, yes.
We need to leave some more for later.
Thank you.
Yeah, for the dance program. You know, we can't totally in this one. Is that a place we can leave it?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That's great, thanks.